I have a model um, of how things happen. Sometimes I use it in leadership circles. Sometimes I use it um, in when somebody's trying to accomplish personal dreams or goals, because it is the way that I believe any kind of thing happens in life, where we go from here to there, where you're in one spot and you're trying to get to some sort of outcome. And part of part of that process of getting from here to there in that model is that once you're kind of down the path and you're doing things and you're trying to make stuff work, one of the most important things we can be doing is we've got to have some sort of measurement system to know, A, am I doing what I said I was going to do? And B, is it working? All right. Am I doing what I said I was going to do? And B, is it working? Now, in the model, I call that section measurement and accountability. Simple example of that. And why do we need to know that? Because that's the only way you know if your strategy is working, right? If you go to the doctor and she gives you an antibiotic, right, and you got an infection, you're not feeling good, and she says, "Here, and write you a prescription." There's a strategy, and the strategy and the plan is, if you take this medicine, that's going to get you from here to there, right? So the strategy and the plan is you're going to take this pill 3 times a day for 7 days, and then voila, you will have reached the vision there. Could be anything in your life. If you are in getting in shape program, and if you do these exercises every day for an hour, and you count this food intake and these food groups and every day, and you're counting your triggers and all that, and you're doing all those activities and you're measuring them, then that should get you to voila. It should all work. Well, the reason we measure, okay, is so we know we're doing it, A, and B, we know if it's working. That's what accountability does for us. So she writes you the prescription, gives you the plan, says you to tells you to stay on plan. You come back 10 days later, 8 days later, and you say, "Doc, I'm not feeling any different." And she says, "There's your measurement and your accountability." She says, "Did you take the medicine?" Now, at that point, if you go, "Well, kind of, I started it, but then, I'd take 3 a day and I'd be at work during the middle of the day, and I'd kind of, forget to take it with me. And by the time I got home, I was behind and couldn't take 2. And so, kind of did and kind of didn't." All right. That's what accountability and measurement does for us. It tells us, A, did we do what we said we were going to do? Did we work the strategy? Now, why is that important? It's the only way to know if the strategy is working. Let me say that again. Why do we hold ourselves accountable and measure whether or not we were doing what we said we were going to do? It's the only way you're going to know if it's working, right? So right now, after 10 days, as the doctor, I don't know if this is the right medicine or not, because the measurement and accountability shows me there's no way to know, because you didn't take it. So we got to start over, and you got to take it. All right. Now this time you come back in 8 days later, and this time you took it. Yes, ma'am. 3 times a day. Prescribe. I got a little chart here. I wrote it down. Took everyone perfectly. How are you feeling? Not so great. I feel the same. Okay. That's awesome to know. Now we know that's not the right medicine. But we can't know that without measuring and holding ourselves accountable. Okay. So that's not the thought for the day. That's the setup for the thought for today. Because at that point, what am I going to do? Well, that didn't work. So what am I going to do? Or if you take the week before, well, I didn't quite take it all on time and I kind of, well, what am I going to do? See, accountability and measurement to find out, am I doing what I said I was going to do? That the reason we do that is for the next step, which is the thought of the day today. And that is we must quickly adapt and fix whatever isn't working. Now that sounds like really profound, right? Well, what first grader wouldn't know that? Well, I can introduce you to a lot of CEOs that don't do it, or a lot of people that don't do it in their own personal lives, or a lot of high performing athletes who hit a bad place and aren't doing it, in wherever they're not performing. Meaning this, that once you know something's not working, success depends on how quickly you fix and adapt to that knowledge. See, what people that stay stuck do is they know they're not doing it, or they know they're doing it and it's not working, but they continue to do the same thing expecting different results, or they don't make any changes based on the knowledge of something being wrong. Interesting verse in Romans, book of Romans, where it says, where there is no law, there is no violation. In other words, how do you hold somebody accountable when you don't have a rule, right? But when we set a plan for ourselves and we know that this is what I've said I'm going to do, and I'm not doing it, once I have knowledge that I'm not doing what is supposed to work or what I have committed to doing, once I have knowledge that I'm not doing it, then the clock is ticking on my accountability to myself and others and responsibility. You know this is not in place. Why aren't you fixing it? Because what that means is we're knowingly signing off to a problem continuing. Knowingly signing off to a problem continuing. And that's kind of the opposite of what people that are fruitful do. What people that are fruitful do is when they find a problem, they fix it. If we don't do something about it when we know it, then we're establishing a pattern, as I said the other day. And once you have a pattern, that becomes a pattern and it gets into the DNA, it gets in the identity, and then that becomes who you are. And you're the person that continues to have a leaky roof, or we're the person that continues to, miss deadlines, or we're the person that, whatever it is. So quickly fixing and adapting is so key. But to fix and adapt, we have to have consciousness, which means we have to be monitoring our life and measuring things and being accountable to, am I doing what I said I was going to do?